What's going on, 49er faithful, 49er fan, 49er gang? This is your boy Niner Gang Podcast, back in the building with another video. Definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, let's get right on into it, man. So, final week of preseason has come and went, and that is it. There are no more preseason games. This is when games start to count. You know what I'm saying? We headed into the season. Everybody is 0-0. Philly could forget that they were the champs because that's the key word, the key phrase. They were the champs. This is a new season. Got to start fighting to get back to that. And just going to be flat out honest with you, I don't see Philly doing it again. You know why? A big part of the reason that they went to the Super Bowl was the fact that they had Saquon Barkley out there balling. And when I mean balling, I mean ball. Seahawks, Eddie, what's happening with your player? They were balling, man. You know what I'm saying? Saquon was balling, but hey, Mom, but here's the issue. Saquon is on the Madden cover. We all know and understand how that works. I know you got a few skeptics here and there, but I'm telling you right now, at the end of the day, glad you're chilling, bro, man. Stay cool up there in the Northwest. Definitely understand exactly what's going on, but as far as that, you know, for me personally, when I look at the Madden cover, all I see is failure. People have regular seasons when they're great players. People wind up injured. They miss time. There's just too many things that go on with being on the Madden cover. And it's not necessarily the best thing for you for the most part. Most of the people, yeah, oh, it's 90? Okay, ain't too bad. Well, you know me, Eddie. I'm in fucking Arizona where it's pretty sure it's probably still like 110 or 112, something like that. But it gets hot. And last couple of days, it rained a little bit. So we had a little bit of humidity, which is different for us, but a little more tolerable than, you know, just baking in our own skin. It's always how it works. But when it comes down to it, man, when you look at the Madden cover and you just take a look at the injuries that go along with it and the history of it, it's really rough. See, when Madden was on the cover, we didn't have this as an issue. But when he started putting players on the cover, that's when you start seeing things happening. What's going on, media? If you want to join up, man, just let me know. I'll shoot you the link. But basically, the preseason is over, and let's go ahead and just take a look, man. We'll look at the last week of the preseason to see who took an L, who got the dub, so to speak. So first game was the Steelers. That was Thursday. Last Thursday. So Steelers versus the Panthers, they won 19-10. Panthers in the preseason 0-3, and the Steelers in the preseason at 2-1. Now 0-3 kind of sucks. You know what I mean? In the preseason, I mean, I understand it's just preseason, but at the end of the day, you don't want to go 0-3 in preseason. It's never a good thing. So next up on the docket, same day on Thursday, last Thursday, it was the Patriots versus the Titans, and you see the score 42-10. They beat the brakes off of the Patriots. That was ugly, man. And I think that was why you had Jameis Winston out there with all that weird stuff he was doing before. He had the quarterbacks out there doing that because I think somebody put up, Tommy DeVito. There you go. 17-20, 198 yards and 3 TDs. That's a damn good game. But that's Tommy DeVito, and you have to think about it. You got Jackson Dart, you got Russell Wilson, you got Jameis Winston. You got Tommy DeVito. DeVito's definitely number 4 on that depth chart because they drafted Jackson Dart in the first round. So I can tell you right now, if anybody's going to start, it's going to be Dart or Wilson. The odd man out is going to be either DeVito or Winston, and I can tell you right now, it's probably, unfortunately, going to be DeVito, only because Winston has the experience and the time and the knowledge to know exactly what to do. So that may be the case. But either way, great showing for Tommy DeVito. Patriots in the preseason 2-1, and the Giants surprisingly in the preseason 3-0. When we thought the Giants would probably wind up being the bottom of the barrel in the NFC East, but now it's looking, just based on preseason, it looks a little more competitive. But either way, it's the third preseason game. You can't take too much from it. The reason being, these are all what I like to call nobodies. These are guys fighting to make the team. I don't mean that in a personal way. I mean that in a football way. Lots of these guys, you're not going to know who they are when it comes to the preseason. You're going to be looking at the back of jerseys and going, oh, that's 38, or this is 44, or that's 2, or this is 1, or that's 5. Like, unless you really know these guys and you're entrenched in it like I am as far as my team goes, then you will know. And me, unfortunately, right now, I haven't been able to really get entrenched in anything. Why? Because we had so many darn injuries. We just keep bringing players in. Half the time, I don't even know who these people are. I just like, oh, okay, another guy on the team. It is what it is. So you just have to kind of look at it from that standpoint and do what you can to, make sense of things. Eagles versus Jets. Eagles in the preseason 2-1. Jets 1-2. It was 19-17, so obviously that was a close game. You know what I mean? The Jets didn't score in the first or the third here, as you can see, but it's not that bad. Falcons 0-3 in the preseason. Once again, it's just a preseason, but you don't want to go 0-3. You at least want to get one dub, at least one. Cowboys 1-2 in the preseason, but I mean, it's the Cowboys. What else can we expect? There was a viral clip of Michael Penix Jr. Correcting the fan on how to pronounce his name because he was calling him Michael Penix. And he's like, what did you say? And he's like, I said Penix. He said, no, it's Penix. Like, I mean, you got to get that right because, of course, we all know why. We all know what that sounds very similar to. And it's like, don't be disrespectful. Come on, bro. You didn't heard this dude's name long enough. He was drafted last year. You saw him play. You heard commentators properly pronounce his name. Don't be that guy. So next up on the list, we got the Vikings and the Titans. Titans win that game 23-13. They wind up going 2-1. The Vikings, the flip of that, they go 1-2 in the preseason. But they love what they've seen from J.J. McCarthy. They feel fantastic about it. No one's mad about that transition from Sam Darnold to him. They think that the ball is going to keep rolling. Was a rumor that they were trying to see about getting Adam Thielen back because they're a little thin at the receiver spot. So I completely understand it and I get it. But that's just part of the case. Sometimes you wind up thin in different spots. You got to figure out what to do. And I mean, to be honest with you, Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen is definitely not a negative thing. If you put Adam Thielen on the outside, throw Jordan Addison in the slot, that's still a dope receiving core. People sleep on Addison. That's a cold dude. And he got that speed. He got that serious get up. You got JJ who can do it all. And then you throw in Adam Thielen, a wily vet who would continue to keep everything going. It only makes sense. But Titans love what they've seen from Cam Ward. That is fantastic. I love that. Cam Ward has been doing his thing out there. He's been trying to make sure that he looks good. And he, proves that he's a starter for this team and, lets everybody know why they went away from the quarterbacks they previously had and why this new regime has put faith in him to be able to get the job done. The Chicago Bears, they ended the season 2-0-1, so they tied one of those games. And the Chiefs, 0-3 in the preseason. Now, once again, like I said, it's just preseason, but you don't want to go 0-3. These guys are out there trying to compete and play their hearts out. So look at this. Bagent for the Bears. He's the backup. This dude is thrown, he's 20 to 28, 212 yards, 3 TDs. That's a good backup to have. Because every now and then in the preseason, you are going to play some starters. Every now and then in the preseason, you are going to play some guys that actually do, that actually are really, that dude. So that's good that this kid Bagent is a great backup for the Chicago Bears. That bodes well for them. Nothing with the issue there. You see DeAndre Swift over there, 7 carries, 28 yards. So that's definitely nothing to scoff at. That's a good 4 yards to carry. Nothing wrong with that, right? So then you go ahead and take a look at the next game. We got the Ravens and the Commanders. Commanders, another team, 0-3 in the preseason. Ravens, 3-0 in the preseason, and they beat the brakes off the Commanders. They went 30-3. Commanders only scored in the second quarter. That's bad. Now, I know it was just the backups, and I know it was a bunch of nobodies, but that just tells me that these backups on the Baltimore squad were trying to find a way to be able to earn a spot because they did their job. You know what I'm saying? They scored 20 in the second quarter. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. I mean, it looks like the defense found a way to wake up in the second half because you got 0 in the third and you only got 3 in the fourth. It's not too bad. You know what I mean? But either way, 0-3, 3-0. See how it works. Indianapolis, the Colts, 41-14, put a beat down on the Bengals. But, of course, that's because the Bengals' regular offense isn't out there. We all know that if Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are on the field, they're probably going to be the ones doing this. they're going to be the ones scoring 41. The Indianapolis Colts have made the decision to be able to go away from Anthony Richardson. They moved on. They said, you know what? We looked at the preseason, we looked at everything, we saw the quarterback challenge. That's it. We're done. And the reason that I state that they said that they're done is because they named Daniel Jones for the starter for the season. He's not the starter for the moment. He is the starter for the season, unequivocally. So that tells me, hey, Anthony Richardson, your leash is up. And let me say this, because I've had a couple people, I see a few people out there kind of trying to talk and say that this is, what he said is funny since Parsons, was sleeping during the Cowboys ain't much else he got to do. He ain't going to be on the field right now. So it is what it is. But I say this because a lot of people are trying, and this is where the reach comes into place. A lot of people are trying to say this is a racial thing when it comes to Anthony Richardson. It's not racial in any way, shape, or form. As a black man, believe me, I understand there are moments where we as black people will unfortunately use the race card a little heavily and play that a little bit more than it should be played. There's nothing going on with Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones where it's a race thing. It is literally, there was a race to the finish of who's the better QB, and Daniel Jones seemed to be the guy to be able to finish the race and make it happen. Don't forget, Daniel Jones did run 23 miles an hour a couple years ago, even though he didn't realize his body could do that and fell all over the place. It is what it is. And I just, of course, that's just joking. But what I'm saying is, this was a situation of Anthony Richardson not showing the staff what they wanted to see, along with them going back to him quitting on his team. Okay? The quarterback does this. On the side of their helmet, that means they need to come out for some reason. Whatever the reason may be, you don't know what it is until they get to the sideline. It could be hurt, it could be, concussion. There's a variety of different things. But at the end of the day, basically that quarterback is saying, I need to come out of the game. Anthony Richardson came out and said, yeah, I need to come out. I was tired. And everybody was like, you were tired? Like, yeah, lots of cats get tired. They still keep playing. You don't think your running back's tired? You don't think your wide receiver's tired? You don't think the offensive linemen want to tap on their helmet every now and then? I know they get worn the fuck out. But it's a situation of you losing your team in the locker room and not having that same leadership ability because you failed them that way. See, what you do in that instance is you come out and you say, hey, I made a mistake. I came out of the game. I didn't put my team before myself. I put myself before the team. That was incorrect, and I'm going to rectify that this season. I know they brought Daniel Jones in for the for the competition and everything, but what I'm doing is I'm working with my guys to earn their respect and let them know that I will go to bat for them. I will fight for them. I will make sure that when I get on the field, there is nothing about me that's tired. The only thing I want to get tired of is throwing touchdowns, and I ain't never going to get tired of that. Like that kind of little PSA will get your team like, okay. That's a good PR move. You see what I'm saying? So do something like that and then actually do it. Show up to the facility early. Be the first one there and the last one to leave. Continue to work on the mechanics. Continue to work on the throwing, all of that stuff. Like, do things in the offseason that make this team believe that you're still the guy because they spent a very high draft pick on you. Some people will say, hey, well, Anthony Richardson, it's frustrating because they didn't really give him a lot of time, and sometimes dudes need a little more time. This is not outside the realm of possibility, people. I am not stating that it is. But here's the thing. You don't have that time in today's NFL. The NFL is a what have you done for me lately league. Shout out Janet Jackson. But that's what it's about. You've got to have done something to be able to solidify and keep your spot. And if you haven't done that, then you can't be over here, I'm tired, taking breaks. You get a break at the 2-minute warning. You get a break when the defense is on the field. You get a break, during timeouts. But when you're playing, your conditioning needs to be up to par so that you don't get tired, so that you're not asking to come out for no reason. So that's the reason why this happened, man. This was all, unfortunately, on Anthony Richardson. Now you see him. I think the latest interview that he had, it was a good PR type interview. It made sense. He understood the decision. He rolled with it. It was what it was. Boom, life moves on. You know what I'm saying? So just understand that about the situation in Indy. There's nothing racial about it. It's the fact that Anthony Richardson just, unfortunately, at that time, wasn't good enough. They didn't believe in him. So then you go ahead and you take a look at the Los Angeles Rams versus the Cleveland Browns, 1917. You know what I'm saying? The Rams finished the preseason 2-1. And the Browns, the Browns. Oh no, my bad. 1917, the Browns win. So the Rams finished 2-1. Browns finished 3-0. Shador looked great. Here's my problem, and I think this is being done on. This is where, and I don't think this is racial. I think it's more a Shador thing. I think they're doing this on purpose to him. I think the league is colluding against him in some way, shape, or form. I know a lot of people will think, well, nah, that's not right. Look, let me say something. It's very easy and very simple for you to go into a place that doesn't have a solidified quarterback. Joe Flacco ain't taking them into the future. Everybody knows that. Joe Flacco ain't been the same since he won that Super Bowl against the 49ers. After that, he just became a mediocre quarterback. He's bounced from team to team, and he's doing whatever he can to be able to keep a job. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? He got his big contracts, and he did everything that he needs to do. You know what I'm saying? And as long as he stays a consummate professional off the field, then he should be good as far as that's concerned when it comes to being on the field. So for me, with Shador, the man took 5 sacks. Now, I watched the sacks. One thing you don't do is keep running backwards. So that's a bad look on you. You know what I mean? Dylan Gabriel didn't look so bad. Joe Flacco didn't look so bad. I think Kenny Pickett is still hurt. But what I'm saying is you don't keep running backwards. You know what I mean? They put him out there with like the third, fourth stringers. So the offensive line was trash. And he did pretty much not have any time. And that's why I say I think they're doing this on purpose to Shador, because he's a really good quarterback and you let him slip to the 5th round and then randomly the Cleveland Browns, now you're not going to take him. That doesn't make sense. Why would that be? You know what I mean? So for me personally, I say this. Was this a bad game for Shador? Yes. The look of it was bad. Dylan Gabriel's actual game with, the right people in place, his wasn't much better. But Shador, when he was out there with the right people and a good enough O-line and a good enough back and good enough receivers, you saw what he did. He looked way better than Dylan Gabriel. So to me personally, I just feel like the league is still trying to collude against Shador and trying to find a way to humble him. They're a little pissy because, there were supposed reports about how he came in the interview. I don't believe none of that. Some people do. I don't. Me personally, it is what it is. I hope that the kid makes the team, and if he doesn't, I hope he goes somewhere that he can be great. I don't want him in San Francisco because we all know how I feel about Kyle Shanahan and black quarterbacks. That don't work out. Let's just leave that alone, and it is what it is. But moving on, we got the Texans versus the Lions. Lions go 1-3 in the preseason, and the Texans go 2-1. They won 26-7, so not bad for them. Broncos come out and beat the Saints 28-19. That's definitely, the Broncos in 3-0, and the Saints go 0-2-1. So then you got the Seahawks. They are 1-1-1 in the preseason. So that's not bad. You get a dub, take an L, tie game. Hey, that means that things are clicking. Things are working in some way. It's a positive thing. You know what I'm saying? This is an L here, obviously, 27 versus the Packers. Packers go 2-1, but no one really cares about the Packers. I know. Because the reason I'll state this. The reason I say I don't really care for the Packers is because they prop Jordan Love up on this imaginary pedestal as if he is that great, as if he's better than Brock Purdy. And I have an issue with that. And I'm not being a homer. I'm just looking at the body of work. Jordan Love ain't done nothing better than Brock Purdy, not in his whole career. So I don't understand why he just gets propped up and he gets pushed up into these quarterback tiers that everybody has, and you see him always there right with Purdy or better than Purdy. And that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I'm sorry. It's just stupid. You know what I'm saying? Purdy been to an NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. What has Jordan Love done? I forgot. Exactly. So Jags versus Dolphins. Jags in the preseason 0-2-1. Dolphins in the preseason 2-0-1. So not a bad thing for them. Buffalo versus The Bucks, they get the dub, 23-19. They in the preseason 1-2. Bucks in the preseason 2-1. Then you got the Raiders versus the Cardinals. Cardinals get the dub, 20-10. They in the preseason 2-1, and the Raiders in the preseason 0-2-1. Now remember, with the Raiders, it's a situation of everything being new for them. You got Geno Smith, you got Pete Carroll, head coach of the team. You got Chip Kelly as your offensive coordinator. I don't know who your defensive coordinator is, but you still got the usual suspects on defense. You got your Max Crosby's and other people, and then once again, you got your guys over there on offense and whatnot. Ashton Genty, that's the real deal. That man can run. I know I'm a diehard Niner, but I'm telling you right now, yeah, he trucks, he hit sticks, Demo. Immediately hit sticks, knocked him down. There was no choice on that one. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It kind of is what it is. What's going on, Tommy? Hey, what's going on, TD? If you want to join, man, just shoot me a quick little message on X or something, and I'll shoot you a link there. I know I had to leave prematurely when we did our last stream and whatnot. But yeah, man, the preseason is he definitely ran him to look. This is true, okay? If y'all don't believe me, if y'all have NFL Plus, please go back and watch a game, and believe me, you'll see it. That Demo was in prime position, he squared up. Some people just run you over no matter what. But at the end of the day, everything seemed to work out for those guys. So now we go to our game. We ended the preseason 2-1. Chargers ended 2-2. They lost to us 30-23 there. It was a pretty good game. I watched it. It was beautiful to see the backups. But here's the issue that we face. And I'm going to bring this back up because I'm going to go to the stats and whatnot. But I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for just a moment. Here's the issue that we face. Too many darn injuries. That's what yes, that did happen. That part did happen. Yes. Tatum Bethune laid the wood on him, pause. And then, a couple guys came in and cleaned it up. Give me 1 second, y'all. Turn on this light here. It's a little dark. Oh, crap. There we go. All right, cool. Oh, so much better. All right. So, basically, when you take a look at it, we had so many injuries. Half of these people on the field, I don't even know who they are. So it's hard to give you a real breakdown and analysis because we just out there putting anybody on the field we can get. Because we try to save our real regular starters for the season. You saw Michael Williams once, you never saw him again. You saw CJ West twice, you didn't see him in the third time. So, and you barely saw him in the second go around, but you know what I'm saying? It's the situations we just keep getting injured. It's frustrating because as Niner fans, we don't want to see that. We already know with this regime, we have always been one of the most injured teams in the league. Why? I don't know. I feel like they can't choose the right kind of training staff or what the situation is, but it is annoying. It is very annoying when we can't get into a dang season without losing every damn body. People just going down left and right, dropping like flies, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody's coming off an injury. It's rough. It's rough being a Niner fan right now with all these injuries. But let's go ahead and go over the preseason stats. And we'll share the screen again. And we'll see what we got. So let's take a look at the box score. So as you can see, neither one of us scored in the first quarter. That was definitely a defensive battle back and forth. I loved every second of it. Neither defense gave up nothing. They was just like, hey, look, you can try, but you ain't getting nothing about us. And that was a great thing. And then another quick thing on this one is we only had two quarterbacks play, as you can see, Tanner Mordecai and Carter Bradley. And these dudes had to trade off because both of them got injured in the game. That's how bad it was. We thought we could take Tanner Mordecai out and let Carter Bradley go. Nope, Carter Bradley get injured. We got to ship Tanner Mordecai back out there. Mordecai get hurt, then we got to go put Carter Bradley. It is just it was crazy. And I had no idea why they would have signed Nate Sudfeld and then just randomly cut him that fast when you needed another dude. This doesn't make sense to me. It is what it is. But when you take a look at the passing stats, you got DJ Ugalele. He was 16 to 31, 170 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. Then you got Trey Lance. He was 5 of 8, 38 yards, no TDs, no interception. Taylor Heineke, 3 of 5, 31 yards, no TDs, no interceptions. Now I know, of course, everybody was like, "Oh man, you're going up against Trey Lance and whatnot." And once again, I'll stop sharing the screen for just a little sidebar on this game to an extent. Leading up to the game and even after the game, they kept asking Kyle a lot about Lance. People would randomly throw a question out. Here's the thing. Kyle don't care about what's going on with Trey Lance. He doesn't talk to him. He hasn't asked about him. He doesn't call him. He doesn't text. He don't do none of that. You know why? Trey Lance is on another team and is no longer his issue. So when you ask Kyle about him, you can see he gets a little bothered, a little annoyed. And, of course, it's the reason that everybody, of course, is asking is very obvious. Like, you spent all these draft picks on this dude. He was on your team, training the Cowboys, left the Cowboys, now he's with the Chargers. And now you see him look just a little bit better. Of course, it's preseason. It's not against starters. It's not against live game action. Everything is pretty much vanilla for your offense and defense. You kind of know what you're going to see to an extent. But at the end of the day, Jim Harbaugh made a little bit better of an impact. Even if it was only just simply to believe in the guy. That's all you needed. Sometimes guys just really need a head coach to pour into them, to believe in them, and to say, "Hey, look, man, I know it's been rough, but I got you back." And that's what Harbaugh does. You know what I'm saying? And to me personally, I think Trey Lance has earned that backup spot. If not, he'll definitely at least be the third guy on the depth chart. Trey will be up, but he'll probably be the inactive dude if they decide to make Taylor Heineke that dude. As far as that, DJ wasn't too bad out there, but it was just funny to watch Kyle kind of squirm and be bothered with the Trey Lance questions. But it's like you had to know that somebody was going to ask you about something eventually because you screwed that up royally in every which way you could think of. You know what I'm saying? You never spend that much draft capital on a player you don't believe in, you have no aspirations of starting, and you didn't want in the first place. That's the dumbest thing you could do. You know what I'm saying? Why bring somebody there and spend all that draft capital on somebody? I always state this, and I'll die on this hill. Kyle Shanahan would have been fired if he'd have been anywhere else if he didn't give Trey Lance that proper opportunity. You can't go from Lance back to Jimmy to Purdy, and then it was a full-on debacle. And me personally, I didn't like the way it was handled. And to me, it's BS how Jed York has given him that kind of autonomy. You give him the autonomy to screw off draft picks like that, and you don't hold him accountable at one bit because you saw the third stringer take it to the NFC Championship game. I mean, I would have came in there now. Yes, Jed York did come into this offseason and go, tighten the pocketbook. So if y'all going to look at free agency, you better make it work with whatever you got. I'm not giving up a dime. You're not giving a bunch of players money that don't need money, and you're not wasting my money. Now, mind you, we had to give CMC some cash. We had to give Trent Williams some cash. You know what I'm saying? Jauan Jennings currently right now is dealing with a calf injury. I don't think that's a calf injury, man. I think that's just Jauan saying, let me sit my ass down until the season starts and see what goes on. The only negative aspect of that is typically when you don't play in the preseason and you don't build that football callus, you wind up with soft tissue injury. So we hope and pray that doesn't happen for Jauan. I hope he's ready for week 1. I think he will be. I don't think there's going to be any issues because they've been very quiet about his injury. And that tells you automatically, there ain't no injury. He's just sitting out because he wants some more money. You know what I'm saying? I think he's due to make $7 or $7.5 million, which in California probably is more like $3 million, 3.4, roughly, because the taxes in California are straight up horrendous. But it is what it is. So then when you go back to, taking a look at everything and seeing what it was as far as the box score, you know what I'm saying? Once again, you have Tanner Mordecai, 10-13, 103 yards, 1 TD, didn't take a sack. Carter Bradley, 8-14, 1 TD, no interceptions, took 2 sacks. So you move down to the running. You got Raheem Sanders. He had 13 carries for 48 yards. Naeem Miller-Hines, 9 for 21. Ugalele, 1 for 13, and Taylor Heineke 1 for nothing. So basically, it's just, when you look at that, we held them as a team to under 82 yards. And the only two guys, technically speaking, we only technically gave up because if you look at it from just a pure running back standpoint, the only two guys that really deserve that, as far as looking at numbers, are going to be Sanders and Miller-Hines, and all they combined for was 69 yards, which is great. That means the run defense is working a lot better, and that's fantastic. So then you run over to us, Jeff Wilson Jr., 11 carries, 41 yards, 1 TD. Keyshawn Vaughn, Isaac Guerrero, those were our other two backs, 9 for 20 on Keyshawn Vaughn, and 8 for 13 with Isaac Guerrero. And we'll talk about, unfortunately, what's going on with that at the end. But for right now, we'll just slide on down to the defense. When you take a look at it, we'll slide on down to the receiving. So we have Delevion Campbell. He had 4 catches for 73 yards. That's damn good. Oronde Gaston II. Oh, my gosh. I knew I saw that name before because I've heard the last name. I've heard the name Oronde Gaston. That was a long time ago. So then you have your you'll take a look at that. You have him 3 for 46 with a TD. Luke Grimm, 3 for 28 with a TD. Jalen Reagor, you remember that name? He was a speedster drafted by, I believe, the Philadelphia Eagles. It was either the Eagles or the Raiders, but I think it was the Eagles. But he just been bouncing around the league. He hasn't panned out. You got Jalen Johnson, 2 for 20. Jaquay Jackson, 1 for 13. Flip over to the Niners. Malik Turner, guy we haven't heard from in a while. 3 catches, 41 yards. DeMarcus Robinson, 2 catches for 30 yards and 1 TD. Don't have any updates on DeMarcus Robinson's suspension situation, so we'll see what we can do at the time. Hopefully things work out and we get that going as well. Then you've got Tariq Owens, who caught his first NFL touchdown, albeit in the preseason. 1 catch, 22 yards, 1 TD. Can't be mad at that. It's beautiful. 2 catches for 20 yards for Luke Farrell. And Sky Moore had 3 catches for 19 yards. So then, everybody else don't really talk about. Then you take a look at the fumbles. There were 2 by us, and we lost both of them. And then when it comes to the fumbles for them, there were 4 by them. They lost 3 out of the 4. But then you got Brady Willis recovering 1, Chaz Surratt recovering 1, Evan Anderson recovering 1. So that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? For us to force 4 fumbles and to pick up 3 of them, I ain't mad at that. You take a look at the box score. Once again, nothing in the first, 13 in the second from the Chargers, and then 6 from us. Nothing in the third for the Chargers, 10 from us, and then 10 from the Chargers in the fourth, 14 in the fourth from us. So we come out on top with the win. You got the defense. Chaz Surratt, he was out there making plays. He had 11 tackles. Nick Martin, that man was everywhere. He looked great, man, everywhere. Darrell Luter Jr., he looked good too. 5 tackles for him. Jalen Graham, 5 tackles. Jalen Mahoney, 5 tackles. Siegel, 4 tackles. Renardo Green, 3 tackles. Chase Lucas, 2. You know what I mean? Syrian Neal, he had a pass defense. So you look at it, you take a look at the guys, and you just keep going down the list. You'll start seeing these dudes. We had 6 passes defense. We had 1 by Nick Martin, 1 by Darrell Luter Jr., Sharon Neal. He had 1. Travis Gibson had 1. And then you take a look, Curtis Robinson had 1. And down all the way at the Brown, Shaquille Brown. You see what I'm saying? Who is that? Who is Shaquille Brown? No one knows. So these are the things that I'm talking about. We had that 1 interception. Curtis Robinson snagged that. That was a great little play. We had some return duties. Junior Virgin, unfortunately, muffed one of those. It kind of made himself look bad, but I don't think that means he gets cut. Naeem Miller-Hines, 4 for 93, 23 yards per return. And then Sanders with 1 for 21. Then you go ahead and you go Dallas Flowers, 1 for 21. Junior Bergen, 1 for 21. And Sky Moore, 1 for 26. On the punt returns, it was mainly Naeem Hines and Luke Grimm for the Chargers. You know what I'm saying? Not much going on there. Very, very small averages. Same thing with us, Sky Moore and Junior Bergen. Very small averages. Nobody scored any TDs. When it comes to the field goals, we had 3 for 3 from Cameron Dicker. on the field goals. Jake Moody 1 for 1, but here it is, 3 for 4 on the extra point. He missed another extra point. This guy, money, 2 for 2. Here's my problem, and we'll get into it because we got to talk about a couple of different players here. J.K. Scott did his thing with punting. He punted 7 times. So Thomas Morstead 7 times. So they both punted. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But those are the stats and the statistics from the game. You know what I mean? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because we got some position battles that were happening. Give me just a second. We got position battles that were happening, and these things meant a lot. And I know y'all see my boy Huff. I still love him. I love Huff to death. That was one of my guys. He's one of my favorite dudes. So let's talk about it. Position battles. Okay. So position battles on the O-line. Yeah, we don't know who the left guard is going to be. And at this point, even Dominic Clooney got injured, so we're just hoping and praying they just keep him healthy and keep him on ice till the season starts. But Clooney will be all right. Trent Williams will be all right. We already know, unfortunately, that Jake Brendel is the center and Colt McKivitz is the right tackle. Didn't see anything from Hennessy to, unfortunately, force Brendel out of a job. And plus, as we all know, Forrester and Kyle Shanahan swear by Brendel. They think he is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and he can do no wrong. So, to me, that is Crocker. You know what? But it is what it is. So, when it comes to the running back, Kyle said something very, very profound in the last interview that I saw. He said he brought Brian Robinson in to be a number 2 back. If I am Isaac Guerendo, that hurts. And this goes back to what I said about guys that we draft. They just don't pan out. We ain't seen nothing of Jordan James. Almost wouldn't know who the heck the kid was unless they showed his face and put his name up and told us who they were talking to. Isaac Guerendo, another drafted back. So let me say this. Brian Robinson, fantastic back, great pickup. Love the pickup, love the addition. And I know he'll definitely be a great, backup to see if something were to happen or just to spell him properly, you know what I mean? All these things work. But there wasn't nothing wrong with Guerendo outside of him being injured a little bit here and there. For the most part, the man, he's got that top end speed that you love in a running back. He is great out of the backfield. He can catch the ball, and he runs around hard. But here's the thing. Kyle said we brought in Brian Robinson to be the number 2 back. So that immediately shoves Guerendo down to number 3. That shoves Jordan Dames down to number 4. That tells Jeff Wilson, I don't know if you're going to make this team or not. And Jeff's been here before. So for me personally, when it comes to that, that's a slap in the face. You know what I'm saying? If I'm Guerendo, I'm not going to be overly mad because I already know my position and know my role. But at the same time, that's going to stick in my craw a little bit. Be a little bothered by that. Because that basically says I'm not good enough to be the number 2 back. You don't trust me to stay healthy. You don't trust me to be able to do the things CMC can do when he goes out of the game. So you had to go and get somebody from somewhere else. You knew Washington wanted to offload Brian Robinson. You knew they wanted to go in a little bit of a different direction. And you knew he was going to start asking for some money. So you go pick him up. We'll probably have Brian Robinson for this year and let him walk next year. I guarantee it. But they probably, from a football standpoint, you have to have a viable back. I get that. Truthfully, I do. But this is why I say we shouldn't draft running backs. Ty Davis-Price, where is he at? Trey Sermon, where is he at? Any of the other backs that we drafted before that, where are these guys? Not on the team. And see, people get mad when I talk about history and how it keeps repeating itself, especially with the Niners, and everybody wants to make a big stink about it and go, oh, well, you're wrong. What if it works out with this person? What if it works out with that person? I am sorry. The whole time Kyle Shanahan's been here, there has not been a back that he has drafted that has worked out. The only person that's come anywhere near close was Elijah. I forgot his last name already. Raging Cajuns. But either way, yes, we definitely will. We definitely will. Today was a busy day for me, B-Dubs. I am so sorry, man. I had a lot going on. I had a lot of shit I had to do today, bro. So I didn't really get a chance to look at my texts and stuff like that the whole time. But we're going to do the 53-man roster show because that's what media wanted to do. So just remember, loop media into that, and we'll still do that. We definitely got to do a roster show. We got to figure who the hell's going to make it versus who ain't going to be here, because I already know that'll have to happen at least by tomorrow sometime. But just get at me, man. I'll make sure to figure it out, because I definitely wanted to go live today because I just wanted to talk about the game at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Yeah, but either way, when it comes down to it, whenever we draft back, they don't pan out. Don't believe me? Look at the history. Jordan James right now basically is relegated to the practice squad. Isaac Guerrero knows he's number 3 now. It's obvious. He's been told. If he wasn't told, Kyle Shanahan made him aware with his comments. So then you slide over to the receiver spot. Marcus Robinson is fighting a 3-game suspension. We don't know if we can have him as the starter for the game, for the first game of the season. If he's appealing that suspension, so hopefully they knock off 1, possibly 2 games. It's extremely rare that they just say, hey, you can play and let everything go. He most likely will get 1 game taken off of that at a minimum, but we need him right now. So you still have Ricky Pearsall. You still got Jauan Jennings. You're looking at these dudes like, damn, this is what it is. So when it comes to the kicker situation, we had a kicker competition in camp. I thought the kicker competition was BS. And the reason why I thought it was BS was because it's very simple. You drafted Moody. You knew you were going to pick him over a guy that you brought in off the street, and you didn't draft. It's weird to me how the 49ers do things, because there are certain draft picks they'll hold on to forever because they don't want to look stupid, but then there are some draft picks they'll let go of in the blink of an eye, and you didn't even give those people a chance. And it's just confusing to me. So for me personally, when it comes down to it at the end of the day, we kept Jake Moody. Moody still seems to be inconsistent. He doesn't seem to have fixed anything. I know he's doing the little whole 2-step thing, rather than 3 steps or whatever. Whatever improvements he's made to the kicking game, he's still missing basic ass kicks. Like, at this point, bro, you live in Santa Clara. What you need to do is go to a field that has no wind, that has, to a high school football field, because the wind can get in there in every which way, and kick and keep kicking that wind. Try to understand it, learn it, figure it out, do what you got to do with it. Hell, call Destroying. The man is a fantastic kicker. Call him. Tell him to work with you. Ask him to show you what he knows about the kicking game. We've seen his videos. The man kicks in any weather, at any time, from any distance. And he's usually money. That's all I'm saying. So for me personally, at the end of the day, Jake Moody it is, and let's just hope we don't have to put any games on his back. I know he, had the game winner for us in Vegas, and everybody celebrated him. But we celebrate you, and then you turn around and you can't even make an extra point. How is it that you can kick the ball from 50 yards away, but you can't kick two yards away? This don't make no damn sense. Chip shots should be easier. I can understand if you miss long ones, but you missing the short ones, the easy ones, the gimmies. This doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So it gets a little frustrating when it comes down to it. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. We got to deal with Jake Moody. That's the key. But a couple people I want to talk about. I do believe these 2 dudes are going to make the squad, and that was Darrell Luter Jr. and Nick Martin. Darrell, because he was a previous draft pick, and he seems to start picking things up, figuring out, what his place is, and understanding what he needs to do. Nick Martin was flying around everywhere you could think of. That man was hitting. I like what I see from Nick Martin. He looks great. And I love what I saw from D. Winters as well. I don't think Nick Martin's done enough to unseat D. Winters and, take that spot next to Fred away from him. But I can tell you, he's on his ass. So, Winters, do not get comfortable. Don't rest on your laurels. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being great as you are. Because believe me, the minute you start acting a fool, or the minute something don't look right, or you ain't able to make these plays, they're going to throw Nick Martin in there to take your job. That is Just honest to God truth. That's how that's going to work. Darrell Luter Jr., continue to make sure that you do everything that you can to be as great as you've been in the past few games. I'm not mad at it. I think you should be good to go as far as that's concerned. You know what I'm saying? As far as anybody else making the squad, I think we really have a good chunk of the people there. I know roster cuts have to be done by Tuesday. I believe 1 p.m. Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Tuesday. I think you have to be down to the 53-man roster. I do believe we've only rolled with 2 quarterbacks, i.e. Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, even though Mac Jones threw a horrible interception most recently, the last time I saw him throw the ball. But that's just how that's going to work. And your 1-2 punch in the backfield is Robinson and McCaffrey. You know what I'm saying? Your 1-2 punch of the receiver is going to be Jennings and Pearsall, provided Jennings is healthy, which I do believe he is. Tight end, that we don't even need to talk about that. So you're going to have new faces on that defensive line. You're going to have to see all these dudes. I love what I saw from C.J. West. I didn't like so much what I saw from Alfred Collins. Alfred Collins, to me, just looked like a big body. That's all he looked like. I didn't see anything outside of a bull rush. And that doesn't work for everybody. It only works for some people who have mastered that bull rush and know exactly how to exert the correct amount of force to be able to get up in that offensive lineman and push them back. It is extremely rare. These linemen in the NFL are professionals for a reason, and they know what the heck they're doing. And bull rush is one of the easiest things for them to combat. You don't believe me? Ask Trent Williams about a bull rush. And I guarantee you, Trent Williams will tell you, defeat that in a multitude of ways. So it is what it is. But hopefully when we start the season, we see Mykel Williams out there. What's been going on with Mykel Williams? An ankle injury, the same one he dealt with in college, and he's our first-round pick. Is there any reason why we just cannot, in some way, shape, or form, why we can't get away from these dudes that are injured? Why we always have to draft a dude with an injury history? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, love what I saw from C.J. West. I believe they said he hyperextended his knee. Probably be ready for the season opener. I doubt that it's going to take him more time. A lot of these dudes, some of the injuries that they're facing are situations where if we were to have to play a game, they'd get the proper treatment, maybe cortisone shot. Excuse me, I know that's old school, or whatever they do in today's time to get people ready for this stuff. So we'll see what happens. But as far as, from our draft picks, Connor Colby didn't look so bad as an offensive lineman. He looked all right. He might be able to make it. Baba J in the house was at it with you, buddy. He said Jake Moody is like the Happy Gilmore of football. He can make the long shots, but his short game sucks. Maybe he needs to start making his extra points for 55 yards. Or maybe we can get Charles Peterson to come out of the great gates of heaven and come down to training. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Action Jackson, a.k.a. Paul Weathers. You know what I'm saying? If y'all don't know about Action Jackson, y'all need to go back and find it. Watch that show. That was an amazing TV show. For me, as a young black man, to see another black man out there, you know what I'm saying, being a hero, being the star of the show. I know the show didn't get a lot of seasons, but it was a fantastic show. If you don't know about Action Jackson, check it out, man. Carl Weathers, God rest his soul, amazing human being. But we just have to keep working with the guys that we have and doing what we need to do. Like I said, Burden, he looked all right as a returner, nothing overly spectacular, but he had some good plays. So I think Burden makes the team as far as the special teams and as a returner. So he could probably be that 6th or 7th receiver that we might keep. We'll have to, hope and pray that the rest of the guys that we have are healthy enough and we can figure it out. Because, of course, I think when you look at the receiving core, of course, you're going to have Jennings, you're going to have Pearsall, and, of course, you have to leave a spot open for BA because he's going to come back at some point in the season. I believe BA will be back probably week 6 to 8. Some people are thinking earlier. Me personally, I believe earlier when I see it. I will stick to the week 6 to 8 only because it's the type of injury that he had and the time that it takes to recover and actually get out there and do things the right way. But when it comes down to it, you got to look at it and say, okay, hey, Demarcus Robinson, of course you want to keep him. He's balling. He's number 5. If you didn't see him on the squad, take a look at the preseason games. He looked great. And Demarcus Robinson used to eat us up when he was with the Rams, too. So it doesn't take away from his talent. It's just unfortunately right now, man, could face a suspension. It is what it is. So when you're looking at the receiving core, we hope and pray that everybody makes, that they make the right decisions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, see, look, Papa J know what I'm talking about. Actually, Jackson was great. So we'll be back probably at least tomorrow, maybe, with the roster cuts and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are going to start seeing me in the mornings, for the most part now. I'll probably be doing my shows probably early mornings, only because my schedule has changed as far as work. So I won't be doing any more evening shows. My stuff will most likely happen in the mornings. If I do anything on the evening, it'll probably be on the weekends. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I got to go early because, work is work. And this hasn't taken off to a point where I can make this my permanent job. Believe me, I got mouths to feed and bills to pay. And, once it takes off in the right way, it takes off in the right way. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm going to jump on up out of here, man, and keep things going. I'll still hit everybody with the last week of preseason leaders as far as your offensive guys, your quarterbacks, your wide receivers, and your running backs. You know what I'm saying? And I'll keep that going throughout the season, just giving y'all those quick little shorts just to let you know who's leading things and who's going above and beyond and who's making stuff happen. When you take a look at it, during the season, you always think about the usual suspects. But the beauty of having that week to week is saying, hey, maybe there's somebody I have been neglecting that's actually really doing a good damn job. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Everybody stay up, stay faithful, stay blessed. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell another friend. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Please continue to support your boy. I'm going to continue to bring y'all fantastic content, not on just the 49ers, but the NFL in general. And we'll talk about things, and we'll go from there. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Be blessed. Continue to be great. Love y'all, and I'm out. Peace.